Hello loves, and welcome to today's video. It is a little bit past the mid-year point, so today I'm going to be doing the mid-year freakout tag. This is a series of questions that has you reflect on the first half of the year and what your plans are for the second half of the year. Let's get started. The first question is, what is your favorite book that you've read so far this year? That is The River Has Roots for me. This is by Amal El-Mohtar. It is based on a ballad about two sisters who sing to the forest to help them grow, and then one of the sisters falls in love with a creature on the other side of fairy from the other realm. It's a really beautifully written book. The audiobook also has music performed by the author, so it's an experience to listen to, and I had the privilege of getting to hear Amal El-Mohtar speak about her inspiration for this book, and it was such a great experience, so I very highly recommend The River Has Roots. Second question, what's the best sequel you've read so far this year? For me, it is Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man. This is the sequel to Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jessie Q. Sutanto. This is like a murder mystery story about a little Chinese grandma who is just so nosy and in everyone's business that she starts solving crimes by like bringing food to people and asking them about their lives. It's so cute. I actually liked the sequel better than the first one. I was really interested in it. We have such a connection of a cast of characters now, so I had a lot of fun reading this sequel, and I'd recommend both of them. The first one was still 4 for me, but I like the second one better now that we're kind of established in the characters. Question number 3. What is a new release you are excited for but haven't gotten to yet? For me, that is Hungerstone by Kat Dunn. This, from what I can see, is a Carmilla retelling, and a lot of YouTubers whose tastes are similar to mine said that they absolutely loved it. So I'm really looking forward to getting around to that one. It has a crazy long hold line for being a horror, which surprised me, but I'm really looking forward to reading that one because I love some sapphic vampires. Question 4, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? For me, I'm a Chuck Tingle girl. It's gonna be Lucky Day. It was a hard pick between Catabasis by R.F. Kuang and Lucky Day by Chuck Tingle, but I think I'm more excited for Chuck Tingle's book. This is a horror novel about someone who can like manipulate the odds or something, or there's like a cataclysmic event related to probability. I don't know. The description a little bit went over my head, but I'm gonna trust Chuck Tingle to knock it out of the park, so I'm looking forward to that one. It also has a really cool cover. Biggest disappointment. Everyone's opinion is their own opinion. No hate to anyone who loved this book. Quicksilver by Callie Hart. Super hyped for me because it was the best of booktube last year, like Katie Coulson's video where she watches hundreds of booktube bests and makes the rankings. Quicksilver won by like a landslide, and I was like, okay, cool. Oh my god, that book was terrible. The writing was bad, the characters were awful, it wasn't even that fun. The world building had no logical sense to it. I don't see what other people are seeing. No hate to anyone who did like it, but I don't see what other people see in it. The next question is the biggest surprise for me. Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I read this because it was my book club's pick for the month. I was never a huge fan of the original Hunger Games novels. I read them as a teenager. I thought they were just okay, and I read this because book club. I ended up loving it. Like, it's not my best book of the year, but pretty high up there, and that really surprised me. So I jumped on the Hunger Games bandwagon now. I reread the first one and I ended up improving my rating by like 2 whole stars. I'm definitely gonna try and reread the rest of the series. I think what happened is when I was a teenager, so many of the books I had to read for school were dystopian fiction. So I didn't find fun in reading dystopian fiction outside of school. I didn't like the Hunger Games because it reminded me of all the books I had to read for school. So now that I'm an adult and I'm distanced from those times, maybe I can come to it with a bit more of an appreciation. Next is a new favorite author for me, that is Delilah S. Dawson. I've read a ton of her work this year, and while not all of them have been 5 stars, all of them have been pretty good, with Bloom and Guillotine like blowing me away. So definitely Delilah S. Dawson is an author that's on my radar now, and I'm trying to read the backlist of. Next is your newest fictional crush, and I am going to have to speak very carefully about this because it is from a book that isn't published yet. I was lucky enough to get an arc of We Love You Bunny by Mona Awad, and I loved it. My review is on Goodreads if you wanted to see my thoughts on that. I won't go too much into it here. But in that book, we get more of Jonah, who is in the first book, but is also in the second one, and like, what a himbo. Like, no thoughts, head empty, just good vibes, and I love that for him. So Jonah from Bunny, but also like more so in We Love You Bunny. And hopefully that's not too spoilery to say that a character exists in that book. Next is your newest favorite character, and I think I have to go with Princess Donut from Dungeon Crawler Carl, because she is a talking cat who is just so self-absorbed and impulsive, and I love that for her, but also she's kind of a badass, so she knows who she is, and y'all better respect that. Princess Donut is my favorite character of the year. For a book that made me cry, Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. If there is an author who is going to be able to make me cry pretty consistently, it is going to be John Green. This is a nonfiction book about the history of tuberculosis and how it is persistent in our society because of basically wealth disparity and wealthier countries having eradicated it mostly, but the health systems in countries with lower GDPs unable to fully address the issue, which means that it still pervades society. And he also really makes this story personable by using an example of someone he's met, because part of the nerve fighter community was they built a hospital in Sierra Leone, if I remember correctly, and it's someone he met through that. This was history, this was some science, and this was a really touching story of someone who is experiencing the issue that is tuberculosis in society. Oh, this definitely made me cry. Next, for a book that made you happy. This is going to be a little bit of a random pick. I'm gonna have to go with Bisexual Math Man Makes a Special Delivery in Our Butts, which is a Chuck Tingle Tingleverse novel. I did a video on reading Chuck Tingle's Tinglers for the first time for fun, and this one surprised me with kind of how good quality it was, but also is just kind of a fun time and silly concept that sometimes I don't need serious things that are gonna make me cry. Sometimes I just want to read about Mothman working as a delivery driver and having threesomes, you know? Question 12 is, what is your favorite book to movie adaptation? I haven't seen a lot of them this year, but I did go see How to Train Your Dragon with my friends, and that was pretty good. The screening we went to see was a little weird though, because it had like screens that wrapped around the side, and that was a little distracting, but the movie itself was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I was a little worried that I'm like, didn't the animation just come out like fairly recently, so why are we rehashing this? Also a little skeptical about making live action adaptations of things that are already good animated movies. I think they did a great job with this. The costumes and the set design really impressed me, and it was a good time. So How to Train Your Dragon, I think, is worth seeing. Favorite post that I've made this year, it is going to have to be Pounded in the Butt by Chuck Tingle's Tinglers. This is a reading vlog I did of reading 5 Chuck Tingle books back to back, and I had a lot of fun reading them. I had a lot of fun editing that, and I think it was a silly good time. So if you haven't watched that video, I will put a link somewhere, and I recommend checking it out. Question 14, the most beautiful book that I have acquired this year. Blood on Her Tongue by Joanna Van Veen. I have been obsessed with this cover since I first saw it. Like, the dog, the flowers, beautiful. And then the blood drip sprayed edges is so cool. Like, I'm obsessed with that. Yes. I also really loved this book, which means that I don't have to feel like I'm just keeping it on my shelves because it's pretty, because the content is also good. So if you're looking for like a gothic horror, I get Dracula vibes from it, but like bog body parasites instead of vampire bites. Lesbians. And the final question for the tag is, what book do you really need to get to this year? Are you sick of me saying it? I need to finish the 6 Tudor Queen series. Have I touched any of them since the last time I said this? No. At this point, it's going to take me the length of the life of Henry VIII to get through them. Anne of Cleves is next. I do like Anne of Cleves. She is one of my preferred wives. This is the halfway point, because I've read 3 of them. I have 3 left. I need to finish this series this year, but I keep doing readathons where reading short books is beneficial, so I have been slacking on my big long books. So hopefully August that will chill out and I can get to this. So that is my mid-year freakout tag. I think I'm doing pretty well on all of my goals this year. I'm ahead on all of the pages, the minutes, and the number of books. And let me know in the comments down below what the best book you've read so far this year is, so that I know what I should be reading in the second half of the year to get some new 5 stars in. Or leave the palette emoji for the princess in the portrait. If you enjoyed, like and consider subscribing. There are links in the description to my Goodreads and my Instagram if you want some updates on what I'm reading throughout the month. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.